Well, obviously, I've been thinking about that all week. And I've come to the conclusion, I've become convinced that this psalm is something like God's alternative to death metal. I know that sounds weird, but Heman the Ezraite in this psalm is taking us to a death metal kind of place. Now, some of you are looking at me going, what are you talking about? What is death metal? It sounds absolutely awful. Well, I can fill you in. It is absolutely awful. If you know anything at all about modern music, rock and roll music, you know that there's a subgenre of rock and roll called heavy metal, right? You've heard that. And heavy metal is a kind of music that just features very driving guitars and heavy beats and loud voices. It's very aggressive sounding, right? That's heavy metal. Well, death metal takes heavy metal to an extreme, and it goes to a place of violence and despair. If despair had a sound, if rage took the form of music, it would sound like death metal. Here's the Wikipedia description. Death metal is an extreme subgenre of heavy metal music. It typically employs heavily distorted and low-tuned guitars played with techniques such as palm muting and tremolo picking, deep growling vocals, and aggressive, powerful drumming. It is the sound of blind rage. Even the names of the bands are disturbing. Slayer, Cannibal Corpse, Venom. I spent time this week going through death metal lyrics. It's no place you want to be. These are very, shockingly dark lyrics, okay? They describe graphic violence, and they put the listener in the place of the one committing the violence, and they glorify it, okay? There's hate, there's rage, there's rage against society, rage against God. A lot of these lyrics are explicitly anti-Christian. And through the years, there have been people who are concerned with community standards have obviously worried about this and have filed protests against this kind of music. And after reading the lyrics, I can understand why. I would not be happy if my kids were listening to this. That's just the truth. But I don't want to stand here and condemn death metal, which frankly is easy. I want to ask a more important question, a more spiritual question. Why do so many people listen to this stuff? What is going on inside people that they listen to this stuff? It's not fun to listen to. Why? Slayer from 1991 to 2013 sold 5 million albums. What is it about this music that draws people? Well, they're going to these places, they're listening to this stuff because they feel rage and despair. They are hurting. They are angry. They feel condemned and abandoned by society. They feel the dark weight of despair. And so this music gives them an outlet for this rage that they feel, for this alienation that they feel. To go to a death metal concert would be to listen to thousands of souls crying out their pain. And while the music becomes cathartic for them, I don't think it's cathartic in a good way. Certainly, I think they feel a sense of release when they go to these concerts and scream and yell and participate. But though the catharsis is temporary, ultimately it's just leading them deeper into their rage. You get a Slayer t-shirt after the concert, you get a Slayer tattoo, you're essentially identifying yourself with the rage, with the anger. It's becoming part of your story. In Psalm 88, God has given us a better place to go with our rage and with our anger. Psalm 88 is like a room. And when we come to that place of rage and anger and maybe even despair, Psalm 88 is a room you can go to and you can shout and cry your pain to God. And instead of glorifying it and identifying with it like death metal music, God absorbs it and takes it into his story of redemption. Your despair becomes part of your redemption story, the true story of your life.